What I bring to Disney World has changed a lot over the past couple of years, so what's new? What essentials are being shoved into my luggage? What last-minute items are the greatest lifesavers? Find out today on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So since the Disney World parks are constantly changing, the way that we pack or bring stuff to them changes too. So I'm coming at you today with 17 unique items that we just started packing in our suitcases and park bags that honestly I don't think we can live without anymore. That way you're going to know which essentials deserve the green light for your luggage too, and you'll be more prepared for your Orlando vacation than ever before. So after today's video, make sure to drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/WDW packlist, and we're going to send you a free digital Disney World packing companion download that you can keep close by at all times while you're getting your suitcases loaded up and ready for your big Disney vacation, because prepping and packing is some of the best parts of actually going to Disney World. All right, first up, power strips. With all the devices you're going to be bringing to Disney World, like phones and iPads and laptops and everything else, there's a good chance that whatever hotel room you're going to be staying in may not have the capability to charge everything everywhere all at once. That's a movie now, I think. Now, Disney's renovated rooms do have a lot more USB-C ports and several more USB ports, but some of them kind of break real easily. Not going to say how I know that, but it is a good idea to bring your own power strip just for the extra outlets. Power strips, like the Anchor model, are portable and have 3 extra outlets as well as USB ports. You can find those on Amazon for around $25, but power strips should also be readily available at your local brick and mortar electronics store. And whatever power strip you decide to get, just make sure it's got those USB ports or USB-C ports as well. That way, if all the outlets are being used for other devices, you still have those USBs handy to charge up extra phones and tablets. Next up is those packing cubes. Calling everyone who wants to keep everything super organized during their vacation. This comes in very handy, especially if you're packing for multiple family members in the same suitcase. Packing cubes allow you to sort your belongings while also avoiding that dreaded giant pile of mess you usually end up with at the end of your vacation. You can use these to separate your items by type or try packing each day's outfit together, and that will make getting up and getting dressed and getting out the door in the morning really, really easy. For my kid, I actually will put each outfit into a Ziploc bag and then put those Ziploc bags into a packing cube. So all he has to do is go into the packing cube, grab a Ziploc bag, take out the outfit and put it on. Now there are several different packing cube designs and brands out there. Again, you can track them down at big box stores or Amazon or whatever. But a brand that the DFB seems to turn toward more often than not is the Begale packing cubes, around $25. This set comes with 8 pieces of all different sizes and colors. Not to mention these packing cubes even have dedicated bags for shoes and a laundry bag too. Next on our list, air tags. So according to a study done by SITA, aka a firm that collects data on baggage handling, over 28 million bags are mishandled annually, with 77% of that number covering delays and other 5% representing bags that are completely lost. I don't like those numbers. Now, more than likely, you're going to be reunited with your luggage shortly after you head over to baggage claim after a flight, but if you want to make sure you've got tabs on where your suitcase is at all times, especially if you are not on non-stop flights, if you've got several stops or if you're going overseas, definitely track them with AirTags. AirTags can send out a signal to your Apple devices and provide you with an exact distance between where you are and where your AirTag is and what direction it's located in. An AirTag can be really useful when your bag's gone rogue. Airports might not know exactly where your bag is or whether it made it onto your plane or not, but with an AirTag, you're going to be able to see where your suitcase is and avoid extra stress and confusion, because something tells me you're already dealing with more than enough as is at that time. Now, I know I talked about this before, but my friend Heather, who's dining in Disney, who helps with a lot of our Disneyland content, she and her family were flying to Italy to go on a cruise, and the cruise was the next day, and the airline lost their bags and basically told them they're not going to get their bags before they go on the cruise. So they went and bought a bunch of cheap clothes, but then she saw on her AirTags that her bags had just arrived at the airport in Rome, and before she even got a notification from the airline, she was able to go and get her bags at the airport, and she didn't actually get a notification from the airline until they were already on the cruise ship. So if she hadn't had those AirTags, she would never have known that she could have just gone and picked them up at the airport. So AirTags go for around $30 on Amazon, and even if you don't end up losing your luggage, which we hope is going to be the case, then they can at the very least give you peace of mind, knowing you'll be able to track them down again just in case anything goes awry. Now, if you've got a long flight to Orlando International Airport, you or your spouse or your kid or all three of you will probably want to watch a movie to pass the time. But most of the airplane TV screens, those planes that still do have TV screens, only have aux inputs with no Bluetooth capability. So you might want to bring a wireless transmitter. Now stick with me. If you're planning on using your AirPods or some other wireless headphones that you take everywhere with you, then you're going to be out of luck with those aux inputs. It's all old earphones or bust on these planes. For a handful of airlines, cheap earbuds will still be provided to you by a flight attendant after you take off, but these aren't exactly the most comfortable or the best for actually hearing what's going on in the movie. They can also break easily. They're pretty cheap. So that's where a wireless transmitter comes in. It's a handy device that plugs into those aux inputs and then connects to your Bluetooth compatible earphones. Just keep in mind that these wireless transmitters can be a bit of an investment. So the more affordable ones we could find on Amazon were around $55, but if you fly on these planes a lot that have those aux inputs and they don't just have a device-based entertainment, or you're not flying with a device, then this is going to make your life more convenient because you literally can't live without those wireless earbuds of yours. So this might be a good choice for you. Okay, next is a collapsible duffel bag. I talk about this all the time because I use mine all the time. When you go to Disney World and you buy too much stuff, or you maybe packed really, really efficiently when you first went to Disney World, and by the end of the trip, your stuff's just all over the place and you have to pack up really, really fast and get to the airport, collapsible duffel bags are going to be really easy to store all the stuff you bought or everything that just sort of exploded all over your room without having to like roll everything up and make sure it fits in its right pocket in its right packing cube, right? So a collapsible duffel bag that can actually just zip into itself and be really, really small can be super useful. Even if you don't need to use it, it doesn't take up very much space in your bag. I don't really have a brand that I prefer. I have a couple of these and they're both different brands, but what I've found is that the best thing to do is find one that is at least somewhat rugged because you may need to use it as a checked bag. And I do that all the time. I use my collapsible duffel as a checked bag and it's always done fine. Even coming home from Tokyo, it's done fine, but just a heads up that you might want to use one that has pretty good reviews in terms of being actually used and being checked baggage. Next up, leak-proof travel bottles. Okay, 1 minute your suitcase is clean and dry, and you open your suitcase when you get where you're going, and the shampoo and conditioner and lotion is everywhere. The sunscreen is everywhere. It's a disaster. So, to make sure you're not met with that mess of spilled liquids when you open your suitcase, you may want to invest in some of those leak-proof silicone bottles. And I personally also put these bottles into a Ziploc bag, too, before I put them into my toiletries bag, because you can never be too careful. You can either purchase silicone travel bottles on Amazon for around $5 for a pack of 4, or you can usually find them in the toiletries travel section of your local big box store. Side note, these travel bottles and Ziploc bags are also a great way to store bubble juice from those infamous bubble wands that your kids might beg for while in the parks. Now, this next one I use all the time, bento boxes on planes. So bento boxes are most popularly known for holding Japanese-inspired cuisine on the go, which usually includes a rice noodle, a protein, and a couple of veggie sides. But what I've been using these little plastic bento boxes for are my charcuterie needs and my snacks on airplanes. Now, stick with me here. You pack some crackers, some cubed cheese, maybe some Baby Bells. I actually will wrap up a low-carb tortilla with some cheese and some ham or something or salami and make little tiny wraps that I then put in baggies and put those in the bento box. And then you've got all your little snacky food compartmentalized and ready to munch on while you're on your flight or on the road or even at the parks. So what I love about this is I'll usually have something to eat on the plane from my little bento box, and then I have a bunch left over that I just put in the fridge in my room so that when I get home from the parks and I'm starving and there's nothing open to eat anywhere, I just have one of my little wraps that I have in my fridge, and there we go. And it's saved my rear end multiple times, by the way, that I haven't had to be like starving all night because you can't get any food anywhere. So this has been just really, really useful. And then if I travel with my son, we both have our own little bento box that we can kind of snack from throughout the travel day. So it's really useful. I really, really like them. Next up is those noise canceling items. So Disney World hotels can be quiet, but they can also be not quiet, especially when you're visiting during peak seasons when the resorts are busier than ever. Whether you're staying in a value or a moderate or a deluxe, you're not going to be in a soundproof room. And sometimes sound can be amplified depending on where your room is located, because those rooms closest to the lobby and the feature pool, those are really loud and there's a bunch of people running around out there. That's why lots of us on the DFB squad bring some sort of white white noise machine with us just to add a little ambient white noise to our space so we can fall asleep easily or stay asleep longer. You can also find portable white noise machines to attach to your baby's stroller to help them sneak a quick cat nap while they're inside the parks. And those are good ones those are cheap and good ones to use even in your hotel room. Now, this is a pro tip from one of our YouTube viewers. If you don't have a white noise machine or if you don't have a white noise app on your phone, you can try requesting a box fan from the front desk of your resort because they may be able to furnish one of those for you, and then that'll offer some white noise in your room too. And we also do like to bring earplugs. Sometimes those come in really, really handy if you have a snorer with you in the room or next to you in the next room. These can be very, very useful just to get a good night's sleep. Next on the list is the Wrinkle Releaser and the Static Eliminating Spray. Doesn't matter how neatly you put your clothes away in your suitcase. After being jostled around during that flight, maybe even after being rummaged through when you're trying to find a certain item that you could have sworn you put toward the top of your luggage when packing, your clothes are going to get a little wrinkly. And that's why those Wrinkle Releaser sprays can be really nifty. You can get really tiny ones like a pack of 3 or for around $10, not only because it helps us de-wrinkle, but it also gets rid of any weird odors and any static cling out of your clothes. You're going to want to get that static eliminating spray for the static cling, although the Wrinkle Releaser can work a little bit for that, but I usually will bring a static cling spray too. But if you don't buy one of these Wrinkle Releasers ahead of time, there should be an iron in your room free of charge, and you can also turn toward the laundry facilities too for an extra cost if you want to wash and re-wear something you've already worn during the trip. This next one I bring every single time, a mini sewing kit. So Disney resorts used to have little cute sewing kits in the room, but they do not have those anymore. And that means you need to bring your own. Travel sewing kits come with thread and extra buttons and mini scissors, which is why I always use them, because it's always the worst when you buy your kid a toy or something and you can't get it out of the packaging because it's like strapped in there. So you have to find some scissors to cut it out, right? Or if you have a tag on new clothes that you want to cut off, I always tend to need scissors for something. I use them also for moleskin when I get blisters, because I always get blisters, and so I cut up the moleskin with that. Now, these can usually go for about $5 a pouch. I just get a couple of them and I put them in the different suitcases, so I've got them, they're ready to go. I always put them in my checked baggage because you can't bring your scissors on the airplane, but leave them in your checked baggage and they'll be so useful. Okay, next up is those collapsible water bottles. So bringing reusable water bottles to the parks is not a new thing. Here at DFB, we all have our emotional support water bottles as part of our Disney vacations, but you need to stay hydrated in the parks, and water is free for you to fill up on as long as you're not purchasing bottle after bottle of Dasani or Smart Water. However, what several of our DFB team members have recently upgraded to are the leak-proof collapsible water bottles. That way, when you're not using it, you don't have to carry around a big clunky bottle everywhere you go and potentially lose it if you're not careful. You can just tuck it back into your park bag and get it later when you're in need of another hydration boost. These bottles usually come in several different colors and are fairly lightweight. Normally they're going to put you back around $13. But again, if you like having your emotional support water bottle in your hands at all times, there are so many different water bottles you can invest in instead. And there are several refillable water bottle stations you can track down around the parks. Just to name a few, you can find a brand new one over by the Tron Light Cycle Run restrooms. There's a refill station inside Connections Eatery near the restrooms in Epcot. Another restroom refill station is right outside the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge bathrooms. That's where the Dianoga lives. And finally, both the queues for Na'vi River Journey and Flight of Passage in Disney's Animal Kingdom have refill stations as well, right there in the line, just in case you get a little parched while you're standing and waiting. Next on our list are, had to do it, the DFB shirts we've been adding to the dfbstore.com website lately. Ohana means noodles. I love that shirt. And the Sanderson sisters are starting to make their grand return to our shop just in time for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, which is going to start up on August 11th. We've got tons of different unique shirt designs for you to sport around Disney World, and each one can be customized by color and size and style. So if you're ready to update your Disney wardrobe before your big trip, definitely grab one of our shirts over at dfbstore.com. It supports the work that we do. And as always, we really appreciate all of your support here at DFB. That is something that we always travel with, so had to put it in the list. Next up is something I found that was brand new just like a year and a half ago, and I use it all the time now. Let me give you a little background. So when my kid was little, he used to love train sets, and when we would go on vacations, there was kind of a cinch bag that had fabric that looked like train tracks and train stations and stuff, like like those train rugs that kids play on. And you could put all of his train stuff in this cinch bag and then pull it closed, and then when he wanted to play, all you you had to do was just open up the cinch bag and there was the play space right there and all of his trains would be right there. It was really, really cool, really easy to just travel with and take wherever you needed. Well, they have the same thing except for your toiletries and your makeup and stuff, and I love these. These can open up and flatten out on your counter or vanity there, and you've got all the stuff you need. You don't have to take it out of a bag or anything. You just open it up and flatten it out, and there you go. There's everything you need. And then when you're ready to pack up, all you do is just pull the cinch strap and throw it in your backpack. It's all together, it's all super easy to find, and they're pretty compact and easy to pack in those suitcases without taking up a whole lot of extra space. Finally, there is just nothing easier than packing these up at the end of the trip. I'm telling you, it's just like, it's the last thing. I always just grab it, pull on the string, and it's ready to go. So the cinch bag I've been using is called a Lay and Go Cosmo. You can find it on Amazon for around $30, and I'm giving it to like my whole family for Christmas because I've just been a game changer for me. Next on the list, let's be super honest, everybody. Chafing stoppers. Okay, hot days at Disney World equals lots of sweating, and lots of sweating leads to the dreaded thigh chafe or the arm chafe or wherever you got skin rubbing against skin chafing. And that could end up being super, super awful and painful. And then trying to go out the next day with that, it's the worst. So we're going to double up here with 2 chafe preventing methods. First and foremost, slip shorts can and will save your life. They're thin, quick dry, comfortable, cover your thighs in a way that even if they are sweaty, they're not going to rub up against each other and create that rash. Another nifty item that I always use, Body Glide. Unfortunately, chafing isn't just limited to your thighs. Like I said, any sweaty skin-on-skin contact can become a major irritator. Body Glide is going to make things a lot less irritating. I use it every time I wear skirts. I use it regularly, even if I wear sandals on my feet. So you can find it over the counter at your drugstore back home for around $11. You can buy it on Amazon. You can get it at Dick's Sporting Goods because it's used a lot by runners. So Body Glide, one of my favorites. They actually have a women's version of Body Glide, which I think is literally the same thing. It's just pink instead. So there we go. Next up is bigger backpacks. So this is a good tip if you want to travel without checked luggage, right? If you want to skip all the checked luggage hassle and that extra expense, it's time to reconsider the way you think about your personal item and carry-on bag. So there are a lot of factors that go into whether you can really pull off sticking with just a personal item that you're going to place under the seat in front of you and just a carry-on that you're going to put in the overhead compartment. But if you think you'll be able to condense everything you'll need for your trip between those two, then you can say goodbye to the baggage claim and hello to quick and easy and much cheaper departures. Each airline's size and weight limit for carry-ons and personal items will vary, but once you find out what they are, you can choose a bag that's going to give you the most room within those measurement guidelines. One of our team members will pack at least 2 sets of clothes in her personal item backpack, as well as toiletries and tech and any essential medications. That way, even if they did choose to pay for a checked luggage bag and something were to happen to said checked luggage, where it didn't arrive right away or it got misplaced, then she'd still have a solid overnight bag, and the most expensive items would still be by her side and not stranded in an airport somewhere. To maximize your personal item and carry-on space, choose to pack a more spacious backpack as your personal item instead of just a lounge fly bag or a purse, and then consider either packing a small suitcase or one of those larger Van Cropack backpacks which doubles as a suitcase and a lightweight backpack as your carry-on. This expands outward to fit more items, but it can also be contracted to a smaller size when you need it to be. It measures 20 inches by 14, which means it should qualify as a carry-on, but again, always check your airline's website for those exact carry-on guidelines. Next on the list, you always want to bring for Disney World, layers. Okay, you may not have to worry about anything other than heat and more heat when you visit Disney World, but if you visit the parks during the winter or even the early spring or the late fall, you might have a brisk Disney morning or evening on your hands. Now, because this is still Florida, the cold spikes can be unpredictable. While the mornings and evenings might chill you to the bone, the afternoons can still get pretty sunny and hot. That's why layers are going to be essential to pack during these seasons. I'm talking jackets, scarves, knit hats, hot hands, woolly socks, leggings, hoodies, anything that'll keep you warm, but that you'll be able to easily shed during the day if things get toasty later on. Even if you don't wind up using these, it's good to have them tucked away in your park bag instead of having to pay top dollar for them while you're on property, because while a jacket may have cost you $15 at your big box store, it's going to cost you $89 in a Disney gift shop. I've also had people really recommend bringing a light sweater that you can wear even during the summer if you go into those air-conditioned locations. So if you're going into a table service service restaurant or a longer attraction that's indoors, sometimes it gets really, really cold in there because the air conditioning is pumping so strongly. And especially if your body's kind of sweaty, you're going to immediately get a chill when you walk into that AC. So having a little sweater or a little something that you can put on, a long sleeve shirt that you can put on if you happen to be getting cold in a restaurant, that can be helpful too. And finally, of course, one of the biggest elements of your Disney World trip is planning where exactly you're going to eat. And if you want to do some planning before your trip or even some extra planning on your way there, you're going to want to check out our new DFB guides to Walt Disney World dining in 2023. Now available over there at dfbstore.com, where all those t-shirts are too. See, we've added so much information to our guidebooks. We had to split up the guide into 3 different easy to navigate books. So now your purchase is technically 3 books for the price of 1, where you'll learn things like how to conquer Disney dining for your first trip, the best kept dining secrets from our Disney pros, and awesome budgeting tips to make sure you can feel confident not just about the reservations you make, but about the money you're going to save too. We also have chapters and chapters about the dining plan. This is going to be really, really helpful if you're planning to go to Disney World in 2024 and buy the dining plan. We're going to help you figure out if it makes sense for you to get it and how to make the best use of it if you do. So speaking of saving money, use code YouTube when you check out over at dfbstore.com to shave off the price of your overall purchase. All packed up and ready to go? Or do you at least have an idea of what you need to pack before your vacation to the most magical place on earth? Great. Then you're now one step closer to the best Disney trip ever. But if you need an extra helping hand, go ahead and drop us your email at disneyfoodblog.com/WDW pack list right now for that digital packing cheat sheet, because we want to make sure you're 100% confident in what you're taking for Disney before your actual takeoff day approaches. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.